Shalom. I'd like to start off this lesson by giving all honor, praises, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Acha, Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone, teaching and ruling well. Peace, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect of the house of Israel. Lord willing, this lesson will be edifying, straight to the point. Daniel's 9 and 11. Yet all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him, against the Most High. Okay, so yes, all Israel has transgressed. Okay, all right, and for that cause, we are now in the situation that we're in today. Okay, in the hands of our oppressors. Okay, to be servants, bywords. Okay, to suffer. Okay, for transgressing against Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Okay, the reason why we're in the sad state that we're in today, under the oppression, under the rule of these heathen, is because we have forsaken the ways of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. We have turned our backs to the Lord, our power, our source of life. Okay, verse 12. So again, the Lord was justified to bringing these calamities upon us, upon our people, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those that were scattered amongst the nations. So it says here, and he had confirmed his word, okay, as which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven had not been done as it had been done upon Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. So again, like I just mentioned, when it speaks in that instance, when it says Jerusalem, it's speaking about you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those that have been scattered among the nations who lineage, okay, the seed, the lineage, your father, okay, goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that lineage, okay. And that to say that, as the Lord was justified to bring vengeance, to bring wrath, to bring punishment upon his elect, upon his chosen nation, okay, the Lord will also be justified in bringing vengeance, judgment, and punishment upon these heathen nations that touched the apple of his eyes. Okay, so it says here, it says here in Baruch 4, Baruch 4 and 28, for as it was in your mind to go astray from the Most High, so be in return, seek him 10 times more. So that's us. Okay, and as it says, in the land of our captivity, we shall remember ourselves. The Lord will put his spirit into certain individuals, worthy vessels, to know this truth, so that they can turn unto the Lord and worship him in truth and sincerity, in truth and in spirit, Salakia. Okay, representing the true worshipers of the Lord. Okay, as Yahushua mentioned. Okay, so being turned back to the Lord, as it was in our mind to go astray from the Lord, now having this knowledge, having this understanding, we are to seek the Lord 10 times more. Okay, it says here, verse 29, for he that had brought these plagues upon you shall bring you everlasting joy with your salvation. So again, in order for you to receive salvation, and aka being saved, you have to be in a situation where you need to be saved. Okay, you have, and again, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, we are under oppression by the hands of the heathen nations. Okay, these nations who are our enemies have us in captivity. Okay, and as it says, they refuse, pertaining to the Edomites, the so-called white man, they refuse to let us go. Okay, you see. So it says here, take verse 30, take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave you that name will comfort thee. Miserable are they that afflict thee. Miserable are they that afflicted thee and rejoiced at thy fall. So all these nations, all of them are going to be miserable, because again, just as they laughed at our downfall, we're going to be able to witness their downfall. Okay, miserable are the cities which thy children served. Okay, and we have served all these nations, man. Okay, the history of the Israelites is a history of salvation, a history of disobedience, a history of punishment. And it's a cycle that repeats itself. But now we're at the end. This is the final captivity. Okay, as it says, the Lord will not bring us into captivity again. Affliction shall not rise up a second time. Okay, so we're at the time where the Lord will wipe up all the tears from our eyes, man. Okay, as He brings down this wicked kingdom and leads Israel, the elect of the house of Israel, into salvation. So it says here. So it says here. So it says here. Miserable are the cities which thy children served, miserable is she that received thy sons. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin, and was glad at thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. Okay, so the same way that these people laughed and mocked and took us for granted and abused us and oppressed us, the same way that the Lord will give unto them, but double. Okay, unto the Edomites. Okay, and the beauty of it is that it's gonna be an everlasting salvation. When the elect get beamed up, okay, they won't have to fear anymore. The only fear that they'll have is a fear towards Yahweh Ba'ashem El Shai. Okay, a fear that leads unto life. Okay, their life is not gonna be in how can I say, in doubt. Okay, they won't worry, wondering if they're gonna make it through the day. Okay, because of the curses. No, the Lord will overflood us with will overflood us and overtake us with blessings in the kingdom of heaven. Okay, and even as we're seeing the downfall of this wicked kingdom, those that put their trust in this world, okay, their value is going down, and just as those that put their trust in Yahweh Bashim Yashai, their value and their hope and their 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 value, for the lack of word, is going up. Okay, so again, for he that brought these plagues, Salakia, verse 34, for I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. So that's the paradigm shift. The Lord is making the people that are in the world mourn. Okay, be sorrowful. And contrast, the Lord is making his elects, those that fear him, those that serve him, to rejoice at the downfall of their enemies. Okay, this is a part of our blessing too, to see those that afflict us, those that deny Yahweh Bashim El Shai as being the power, being found to be liars, being found that they were wrong, and being judged for their wicked acts. Okay, so just as the Lord was justified to bring evil upon us, the Lord will be justified to bring evil upon these people, because again, they rejoiced at our downfall. They oppressed us. They kept us in a low estate, even to the point where the only one that could deliver us was the Lord. Okay, we're in a situation where the only thing that can deliver us, is the only thing that can save us, is a spiritual intervention. Okay, carnal means will never lead us, will never lead the nation of Israel into salvation. Only the Lord, through spiritual means, will be able to take us and deliver us out of the hands of our oppressors. Okay, so it says here, for I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time. O Jerusalem, look about thee towards the east, and behold the joy that cometh unto thee from the Most High. Thy sons come, whom thou sentest away, and God sent it away into captivity into these other nations. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One. Okay, because they trusted in the word, they have faith in the word, and through that faith they have overcome the world. Okay, through their faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the sacrifice that Yahushai has done. Okay, and through believing in Yahushai's sacrifice, they are now found accepted. Okay, in the eyes of Yahweh. Okay, so it says here, gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of the Most High. Okay, I'm gonna end it here, straight to the point. Just as these nations, just as we were justified in just as the Lord was justified in punishing His chosen people, how much more will the Lord be justified in punishing these nations that touch the apple of His eyes? Okay, it says that the judgment. Actually, let me end up with this. Let me end with this. It says here, 1 Peter 4, and 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. So throughout the nation, throughout the history, we went into captivity, as I mentioned. Okay, but this is the last captivity. Okay, and again, there's gonna be a great judgment, and that's the reason why we call it Jacob's trouble. Okay, because the judgment will begin at the house of Israel, just as we saw a little foreshadowing of how the northern tribes were the northern kingdom, okay, were being persecuted by ICE, by those ICE agents, being deported, okay, being targeted, okay, being put to death, being put in concentration camps, okay, and now the southern kingdom, the kingdom of Judah, is being targeted as well, okay, being targeted, as we saw with the recent government shutdown, how they took away the SNAP benefits and things of that nature. Even though it's the Edomites that profit more off these benefits, social benefits that the government gives them. Okay, but a lot of our people are dependent on the government to survive. So a lot of our people were ended up being persecuted, and again they were, and that's the wickedness of it all, because again they put Jake as the face of welfare. Okay, but it's really the Edomites who are benefiting the most, okay, off those benefits. Okay, but regardless, the judgment must begin at the house of the Most High first. Hence Jacob's trouble. Okay, and if it first begin at us, what shall the end of them? What shall be the end? So like, yeah. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Okay, so again, we praise Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai for allowing, for preserving a remnant. Okay, lest we should have been as Sodom and Gomorrah, completely destroyed. Okay, completely through, mentally, spiritually, physically. Okay, but again, the righteous will be scarcely saved. Okay, so so what will the Lord do unto the ungodly? What will the Lord do unto the sinners? Okay, it says that Yahweh Shai, being the when he walked on the earth, he was perfect without sin. Okay, and it pleased the Lord to bruise him. How much more will it please the Lord to bruise his enemies? Okay, Yahweh being Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai being a man of war, how much more will it please him to destroy and obliterate his enemies, man? All right, that's why it says that um, we shall beat them with a rod of iron. Okay, we're gonna completely put them into subjection, turn all these nations into submissive reeks. Okay, hence Game of pertaining to Game of Thrones. This is a Game of Thrones reference. All these Edomites, all these nations are gonna be turned into compliant and obedient reeks. Okay, so that being said, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. Just as these nations rejoice in our downfall, we're gonna rejoice at their downfall, and the Lord is gonna be justified with the judgment that He'll bring upon these nations. Lord willing, this was edifying. Until next lesson, Shalom.